All right, well, thank you all so much for coming. We really appreciate everyone making such a long journey for some of you to come to Harrisburg to celebrate these awards today. My name is Jana Davis. I'm the director of the Chesapeake Bay Trust. For those who don't know, the Chesapeake Bay Trust is a grant-making organization, and despite our name, which has the words Chesapeake and Bay in it, we fund all over the watershed, the Chesapeake Bay watershed, and focus really on local communities. Communities like this one that have a lot to contribute to local water quality, greening, quality of life, and that sort of project. And so I wanted to start by telling you just a little bit about the Green Streets, Green Jobs, Green Towns initiative. This is an initiative that was the brainchild of EPA, we say that all the time, and Sean Garvin's team, Regional Administrator Garvin. And the idea of the Green Streets, Green Jobs, Green Towns initiative is really to leverage work that has to be done on infrastructure. And while we are digging up parking lots and digging up streets, why not, since the projects are already open, use that opportunity to make these projects greener, put in green infrastructure. We know that there are so many co-benefits of green infrastructure. Street trees improve health, improve air quality, improve water quality, improve quality of life, economics. So there's really no reason when you're tearing up a street to go ahead and put it back in with a lot of street trees, right? We all love to have trees. We're standing right here in a parking lot. That is the before picture. It's a little barren, right? Everyone's a little hot because we're standing in a heat island. So these kinds of green practices really do a lot for our communities. And what we want to do, what the EPA would like to do with the trust as a partner and a lot of new partners that we hope to attract, is to really make sure that we can green neighborhoods while we're doing infrastructure projects. So that's our goal, and what we're here to do today is to celebrate a number of grantees who have, the wind always picks up right when these events start. It never fails, but it feels good. But we're here to celebrate a number of grantees who have worked so hard over the past year to put project ideas together that have been selected for funding from this round, from both the EPA and the Chesapeake Bay Trust, and a couple of other partners. So what I'd like to do first is bring up Regional Administrator Sean Garvin to tell us a little bit more about his ideas and where he sees the future for green infrastructure.
Thank you, Jana. I want to echo what Jana was saying. This is an amazing partnership. This is something that this is the sixth year that we've given these grants out, and really what we're focused on here is Jana talked about, these green streets, green jobs, green town. It's really about quality of life. It's really about quality of life for our neighborhoods, for our communities. And we sit here and we're talking about water quality, but the quality of life issue is much bigger than that. And so we're here to announce a little over $800,000 in G3 grants going to 17 different organizations in the Commonwealths of Pennsylvania and Virginia, and the states of Maryland and West Virginia, and the District of Columbia. And what these really are an investment in our communities. And so it's really great to be here with Major Greiner at his site, where they're receiving just shy of $30,000 to help support their efforts. Mayor Poppenfuss, it's great to be in your great city, and Secretary McDonald, it's great for us to share the podium together. And this really epitomizes what the other 16 organizations are doing, and looking at putting impervious surfaces and putting in trees and rain gardens and bioswales and all of these things that ultimately help water quality, but have a much broader benefit. And so you look at what the Salvation Army is doing. So the Salvation Army is looking for a place in which they can serve their community better. And so here we are at a location with a bunch of abandoned buildings and a lot of asphalt. And what they want to do is kind of really serve their mission, not only in what they do inside their building, but how they build their building and how they invest in the community. So they're going to use that $30,000 to really help design green infrastructure as they go through all of this. And what that really does is it helps the Salvation Army, but it really helps the community. And so when we're looking at the benefits of all this. As I said, this investment is not only for water quality. When you talk about greenscaping, when you talk about green infrastructure, when you talk about trees, it's helping climate, it's helping clean air, it is helping the aesthetics of the community. There have been towns, I often point to, there are a few port towns in Maryland, and they're in fierce competition with each other because one keeps one-upping the other, and as people drive through the town, their citizens are saying, well, why can't my town look like that? They're not looking at it from a water quality impact, they're looking at it from a quality of life community benefit. And so, this isn't just about the Chesapeake Bay. This is about the Susquehanna. This is about the Chop Tank. It's about the James. It's about all of those local rivers and tributaries that are in the Chesapeake Bay watershed. That's what the trust is investing in. That is what EPA is investing in. That is what all these partners are investing in. And the great part about this is you look at the first grant recipients of G3, and they were the leaders. And then folks are following and learning from them. And so this round of G3 recipients, you will be the leaders for the next round of folks, because everything we do, the next group is learning from. So you're doing innovative things on the ground in your communities with your organizations that are continuing to help everyone who follows after that. So I'm extremely proud to be here, joining the mayor, joining the major, joining the secretary, and of course joining Jana. We have an incredible relationship with the trust, and our ability to partner together to put together over $800,000 to get out to 17 organizations that will just have a ripple effect. And of that $800,000, there's about a 7-to-1 match in that money. So it's a much greater investment than just the $800,000 that we're talking about. So I thank you all for being here. I congratulate all the recipients. I congratulate all the partners. And I really congratulate all that are going to follow you, who are going to learn from your investment and your activities. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Sean. So
Not me.
that's almost worse. Oh, thank you very much. So, as Sean mentioned, we're here to celebrate the winners of this year's awards. There are 5 in Pennsylvania, so we're thrilled to be up in Pennsylvania making the announcement. Who are our Pennsylvania grantees this round? If you guys could raise your hands. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'd also like to mention that we are joined today by folks from Maryland and West Virginia as well. So folks made a long journey, and I think this is great. As Sean mentioned, you learn from each other. So you all have posters here. We hope that members of the media and guests will take a look at the posters, and you all will learn from each other as well. So thank you so much for making the trip, for those of you who are out of state. Next, I'd like to introduce Acting Secretary Patrick McDonald from the Maryland Department of Environmental Protection. We are thrilled again to be here in Pennsylvania, and would love to, we're going to chat after this event, and would love to sort of learn more about your thoughts on green infrastructure and how we can help.
Thank you very much. I feel like we've been working hard in Pennsylvania, but there's always more we can learn, so I'm excited to engage in a dialogue with any and all who can help us out. On behalf of the governor and Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, I want to congratulate all 17 of the G3 grant winners for this round. We know it takes a lot of partners, local, state, federal, to come up with innovative solutions that are going to drive us forward on our Bay goals, which we are an active and excited partner in achieving the limits that we need to, not just to protect the Bay, but also to protect local water quality. I'm proud in particular to congratulate our 5 Central Pennsylvania award winners, Pennsylvanians, so I have the pride of doing that. And in particular, we have the Redevelopment Authority of Cumberland County for design and engineering for the southern portion of the Carlisle Urban Stormwater Park. County of Blair for implementation of amended soils, native trees, shrubs, and perennials, and proprietary stormwater treatment of BMPs. The Borough of Chambersburg for implementation of bioretention, impervious concrete, where we have gray infrastructure meeting green in order to solve problems. East Pennsboro Township for planning to incorporate green infrastructure into a regional connectivity study. And then finally, our host today is Salvation Army in Harrisburg, Capital City region, for conceptual engineering design work, stormwater management system. If you haven't taken a look at the site plans in the back, please take a look. We like seeing the word rain garden used a lot, like seeing the word trail used, like seeing the word forest used. There's a forested area in the back. At DEP, we're focused on a number of things. We're certainly focused on the ag impacts, but we're also focused on the stormwater impacts to the Bay watershed. And in particular, we're focused on our municipal separate storm sewer system permit. We put a draft of that out a couple weeks ago, and we're hopeful that gives us a good framework moving forward to encourage more activity exactly like this in municipalities across the state. When you look around at sites like this, and really sites throughout the state and the Bay region in particular, it's taken us 100 years to get to this point in terms of the amount of pervious surface that we have. It's not something that we're going to be able to flip a switch and turn around tomorrow, but at the same time, it's very important that we focus infrastructure resources into projects exactly like the one we're engaged in here. So again, want to thank the Trust, EPA, the city, and Salvation Army, and all the grant participants. Congratulations on your achievements here today, and we look forward to working with you on these projects and all the other ones that we'll need to make sure we're achieving our goals within the Bay watershed and the state as a whole.
Thank you so much, Secretary. As I mentioned earlier, this initiative really for us is about local communities. We know that greening does a couple of things. Sean and I both mentioned some of the benefits earlier. One of them is human health. Getting people outside, getting our kids outside, playing away from video games. There's nothing, anyone a video game player here? Nothing wrong with video games. You can play your video games outside these days, right? With all the little iPads stuff. So get outside. Right where we're standing, there's going to be a ton of green space. And this is where people should be outside, enjoying connecting with nature. People are healthier when they do that. There are also lots of studies that show that green spaces reduce crime in neighborhoods. And again, this is about local communities for us. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to the mayor of Harrisburg, who's going to tell us a little bit about his vision for how greening can help neighborhoods. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to say thank you to our friends at the Salvation Army. This is one of those transformative projects that doesn't come along that often. We're incredibly supportive of your efforts here. It's going to be wonderful. I know it's already been said, but look around you. This is an example of how not to do development. We have boarded up buildings. We have a big parking lot. We have nothing for kids to do. Really making no positive contributions to our community. And thanks to the local vision of the Salvation Army, this is going to turn into a regional center. Not only the walking trails and the playgrounds, but basketball courts. It is going to be an example of everything positive. And I think one of the reasons that perhaps those are the plans. Very impressive. One of the reasons that I think we chose to be here today is because we are the capital of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. What we do here does matter. And it's going to be seen not only throughout the region, but it's going to be seen by our legislatures, by our administration. We have an administration that currently gets it, that understands the importance of green infrastructure. But we have to make that case, and we're going to make that case right here. I say congratulations to all of our award winners today. I want to tell you a little bit about Harrisburg as a city that I believe is growing greener every day. We are completely committed to this transformation. I want to recognize our friends at Capital Region Water in the back that are currently leading the way. I was told today, taste tests now prove that we do indeed have the best water anywhere in Pennsylvania, right here in the city of Harrisburg. The water quality was well known, but it has now been tasted. We also have a large green infrastructure fund that is part of the city's recovery plan that is going to make a difference by investing in projects like what we're going to see here at the Salvation Army. That community conversation is going on right now. Everyone is very excited. The city is engaged in a comprehensive planning process, something which hasn't happened in Harrisburg for over a generation, nearly 30 years. And at the cornerstone of that, the key to that, is a recognition of an emphasis of green infrastructure, of stormwater management, of all the things that are important, quality of life issues that strengthen communities, reduce crime, and do all that we want to see. A couple things that are happening in Harrisburg that I'm very proud of, that I want to draw your attention to. We have almost completed our transformation of every light in the city to a new LED light fixture. If you look over on that wooden pole, you can see one of the new LED fixtures and another one over there. It's about 90% complete. It is a major reduction in carbon emissions, a major reduction in the use of electricity. It's an incredible thing. It's made our city literally brighter. We have also, in the short span of the past 2 years, we have more than tripled our recycling here in the city. We are now currently burning less trash than ever before at the Harrisburg incinerator and recycling more than ever before. We have implemented a mixed stream recycling system. We have handed out, done a lot of education in the community, done an awful lot to get those numbers up. And it's something that we're really proud of. So Harrisburg is a city which is growing greener, which is investing in green infrastructure, which I think can stand as a beacon for the whole region in what we want to see. And just to end on a community note, the Salvation Army is a key partner to the type of community revitalization and transformation we want to see. We're currently in a hot summer. We have youth that need activities, they need safe spaces, they need mentors, they need programming. The Salvation Army does all of that, but what it will be able to do and the impact it will have at this great new regional facility is so much more than we currently have, and it offers so much to the city. So thank you for being here, seeing the before. You're all going to have to come back when we're ready to unveil the after, and we're very excited to be able to host you. And thank you to the Chesapeake Bay Trust. Thank you to everyone who has invested in these planning and design grants today, because they're going to make an impact for our future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pappenfuss. We really appreciate your hospitality here in Harrisburg, and we're excited to come back and see the final project as well. So before I turn it over to Major John Greiner from Salvation Army to describe a little bit more about what they're going to do here, I'd like to point out one additional benefit of these green infrastructure projects, and that's jobs. So there's a sign out front that shows a couple of the metrics of our program as a whole, partnership with EPA over the past 5 or 6 years. In total, about a little over $6 million has been granted out. And while that's supported a lot of different types of activities, we know that 8 miles of green streets have been designed, not including projects like this parking lot, and built. And that's really cool. Think about 8 miles of just green street. It's wonderful, and it's a great example, I think, for lots of communities around the country, really, who want to replicate this. In addition, it supported hundreds of green jobs. So these dollars don't just disappear. They get invested in our communities. They're used to hire people who come and dig up the asphalt and put in gardens and get paid and then go out to dinner and go to the movies. And these dollars are recycled in our communities. So it's a great way of doing so many things with these dollars, I think. So with that, we'd like to hear a little bit more about specifically what's going to happen here. So I'd like to introduce Major Greiner from Salvation Army.
Well, thank you all very much for coming, and on behalf of the 22,000 people that we serve every year here at the Salvation Army, welcome to the Salvation Army. We are really excited about this opportunity. As you look around, what you see are blighted buildings and a lot of asphalt. And our plan is to take down these buildings, take up the asphalt, erect a new 42,000 square foot building that has a lot of wonderful green space outside. The word that comes to mind for me is stewardship. The Salvation Army is a good steward of those who fund our programs and services, but we also want to be good stewards of our environment. So if you can possibly imagine with me native trees being planted, a nice walking trail for our neighbors to enjoy, a big green space where our kids, of which there are 150 in our Summer Youth Enrichment Program, can enjoy outside green space in a safe environment. If you can also imagine with me gardens. Gardens that are planted not only by the surrounding community but by our kids who participate in our program. It is our version of farm to table, where the kids plant the food, they harvest the food, they cook the food in an environment that is safe and where there's not so much asphalt, where there's lots of green space and places to play and overall safety. I want to thank the Chesapeake Bay Trust for allotting us opportunity to further this in terms of our project. I also want to thank our leadership on the state and also on the city level for their kind words in regards to the Salvation Army, but also for their concern for our environment as well. As we have progressed through this project, the resounding question, the repeated question that I have throughout is, what is the outside green space going to look like? Where are the gardens going to go? Where are the kids going to play? We can build a building anywhere, but we can't build green space anywhere. But this is an ideal location for us, and we're really thrilled to be a part of this. So thank you very much for coming out. And congratulations to all 17 awardees, and certainly to the 5 who were awarded here in Pennsylvania.
Thank you so much, Major. So not only can we come back and see the Green Project, but we can come for dinner, it sounds like. Fantastic. All right, before we bring our grantees up, everyone loves to receive a check, right? I'd like to thank folks on the teams of EPA and Chesapeake Bay Trust. Can you guys all raise your hands? I see Ken and Tom and Sadie and Jeff and Jenny. Thank you all so much. You guys are the ones that work so hard for the grantees. So with that said, I'd love to invite the grantees to come up and receive the big check.